I'm selling this house tomorrow for $162,000 more than what I paid for it. But I could have had $730 million. Stick around to find out how. It's a really nice house. It's about 1,200 square feet, so it's a small house, but it's 3 bedrooms and 2.5 baths. As you can see, it's in really nice shape. But I bought this house on March 5th, 2012 for $124,500. That was shortly after the housing crisis and the values were still a bit depressed. So frankly, I got a good price at the time. And 13 and a half years later, so tomorrow, I'm closing on the sale of the house, and I'm selling it for $286,500. That's a gain of $162,000, or 130% gain. And most investors would be really happy with that. But I've come to find Bitcoin in between there. And here's what would have happened if I put that money into Bitcoin instead. On March 5th, 2012, the price of Bitcoin was $4.92 for a whole Bitcoin. I could have bought 25,304 Bitcoins for that 124.5K that I put into this house. Tomorrow, I'm going to get a check for $286,500 minus commissions, which we'll talk about that here in a minute. But that $286,500 will buy just 2.45 Bitcoins. So the value of this house has gone down from 25,304 Bitcoins to 2.45 Bitcoins. CAGR is a key term in investments, which is compound annual growth rate. And in that same period since I bought this house, the CAGR of this house was 6.6%, which means the value of the home went up 6.6% in dollars over that period. Conversely, Bitcoin's CAGR over that same period was 71.2%, meaning the value of Bitcoin went up 71% every year since I bought this house in March of 2012. Now, let's be honest. I didn't put all $124,500 into this house. I put 25% down and borrowed the rest on a mortgage. So let's do apples to apples comparison here. If I had invested that 25%, which was $31,125, instead of sinking that in as a down payment of this house, if I had bought Bitcoin, I could have bought 6,326 Bitcoin. Nice chunk of change. And in today's value, currently Bitcoin is at $116,800. I'd be sitting on $730 million. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy to think? Now, I'm not beating myself up. I didn't know about Bitcoin in 2012. Very few people were involved in Bitcoin in 2012. But the same trend is continuing. And that's why I'm selling this rental property and 2 other rental properties, because I no longer believe it to be the best investment. Another key term in finance is the Sharpe ratio. A lot of people say, well, Bitcoin's risky, or Bitcoin's price is always going up and down. And that's true. Bitcoin's price is volatile. It's more volatile than real estate that slowly creeps upward generally. But the Sharpe ratio is a measure of risk-adjusted return that takes into account how much volatility there is and also how much return or gain that you see from an investment. And a higher Sharpe ratio means that there's a better risk-adjusted return. The 5-year Sharpe ratio for real estate is 0.4. The 5-year Sharpe ratio for Bitcoin is 1.05. So much better risk-adjusted return. Next is liquidity. I can sell Bitcoin like that. I can send it from my cold storage to Strike or another exchange and sell it in minutes, and it clears with the next block in 10 minutes on average. Guess how long it's taken me to sell this house? The tenant moved out on June 30th, and we're closing on the sale tomorrow. And frankly, that's quick. So like I said, we listed the house, it was in demand, there aren't too many houses in this price range, and it sold on the first day. We got a contract on the first day. In fact, we got 5 offers on that first day, and we accepted this one. So, but still, from June 30th, when the house came vacant, to the closing date tomorrow, 79 days. So I'm waiting 79 days before I get my money out of this house. Like I said, with Bitcoin, I could have it the same day. Another important thing when it comes to investing is divisibility, of how divisible is the investment. This is one house. It's hard to buy less than one house. So you have to buy real estate in units of a house or a condo, relatively large chunks of investment. But in Bitcoin, one Bitcoin is divisible 100 million times, and that unit is called a Satoshi. So there's 100 million Satoshis in one Bitcoin, and I can buy as little as 1 Satoshi. Or right now, for $1, I can buy 856 Satoshis. So Bitcoin is superior because it's a divisible form of money. Now let's talk about transaction fees. So as I said earlier, I'm selling this house tomorrow for $286,500. I'm paying a total of about 7% fees, which is the realtor commission and some other fees that I'm responsible for as the seller. That's $20,000. So take my $286,500 and just immediately subtract $20,000 off of that. That's as opposed to Bitcoin, where you can buy and sell Bitcoin on exchanges for 0.5 to at the maximum about 1% fees. So much lower fees to transact, which is just friction. It's just less friction and less loss every time you buy or sell. And for me, for Bitcoin, I'm just buying it. Also, maintenance. Since I've had this house, I've spent a range of between 1 and 4% of the value of the home every year. The tenant called me and the water heater's out, so I had to spend $1,000 on the water heater. Last year, I spent about $8,000 on the HVAC system, new air conditioner, new heater. New roof, put a new roof on about 10 years ago. Just all kinds of ongoing maintenance. And guess how much maintenance fees I pay for my Bitcoin? 0. No cost to hold Bitcoin. Move it to your self-custody, your cold wallet, and there's no fees. Oh yeah, let's talk about maintenance. You see how nice this house is right now? Freshly painted walls, new laminate flooring, brand new carpet in the bedrooms. Look how nice this is. Do you think this was this nice when the tenant moved out on June 30th? Not at all. It was a wreck. I spent $15,000 in July. I had painters in here, flooring people in here, a landscaper came in and cleaned it up outside. $15,000 just so I could sell it and get the value out of it that I wanted to. Kind of crazy. I'm not spending that kind of money on my Bitcoin. Next, there's another friction or loss. Property tax. I pay about 1% of the value of this home every year in property tax, which is a couple $1,000s. Guess how much property tax I pay on Bitcoin? 0. Next, let's talk about scarcity. Honestly, real estate is fairly scarce. It's hard to build new houses. There's less and less available land, especially in popular areas. But the fact is, they are building more every day. There are builders every single day working to build new homes. And there's really no limit to that because there's a lot of land. It's just a matter of how far out from the cities you want to go. Now, Bitcoin is scarce. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins and then no more. And most of that's, about 96% of that's already mined and already in circulation. Much of that's lost. So there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins. And I could have had 6,000 of them back in 2012 if I put the $31,000 down payment from this house into Bitcoin instead of into this house. So to wrap up, like I said, you know, it's a little disappointing, you know, that compared to Bitcoin, how poor of an investment this has been, this house and the others that I have. But you know, I'm not going to beat myself up too much, because I could have made much worse decisions with my money, and I am making over $100,000 even after the fees and transaction costs. So that's nice. But it's been a good learning point for me, that really studying investments, studying how money works, and making sure I'm taking everything into account and not just going with the flow of what conventional wisdom is. Because conventional wisdom is real estate is a really good investment. It's a decent investment, but it's not great. And so that's why I'm really happy to get out of this house and the other two that I'm going to be selling soon. So I hope you got something out of this video, this process of really comparing this investment of this house to what it could have been if I had put that money into Bitcoin. Really opened my eyes. It's kind of crazy to think that I could have had over 6,300 Bitcoin for that $31,000 investment that I put in to the down payment for this house. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe to the channel. I'm sharing similar content every week. If you want to learn more about a book that really opened my eyes to how money works and really touches on some of these topics that I cover here in this video, watch the video here, which is my review of Broken Money by Lynn Alden. And if you want to share any feedback on this video or my other videos, or any lessons learned that you have about real estate and Bitcoin, go ahead and comment below. Thanks a lot.